So it's official. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has ordered House Republicans to move forward with an impeachment inquiry into President Sleepy Joe.
That's why today I am directing our House committee to open a formal impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. This logical next step will give our committees the full power to gather all the facts and answers for the American public. That's exactly what we want to know, the answers. I believe the president would want to answer these questions and allegations as well.
So here's the deal. Joe Biden deserves to be impeached, no doubt. The evidence is piled higher than the scoops on his daily ice cream cone. But sadly, as much work as Comer and Jim Jordan have done to present all of this evidence, it hasn't been enough to move the needle in the court of public opinion. So this impeachment inquiry will give them the tools to subpoena bank records and other important documents, other smoking guns, and that's important. And yeah, you're damn right we should start playing the game the Democrats invented. They want to be cutthroat and go after political opponents with little to no evidence? Well, damn right Republicans ought to do the same. Difference is we actually have evidence on our side. But you know what we don't have on our side? The luxury of a do-over or a try again or a second attempt. We don't have the media, the intelligence agencies, the law enforcement agencies, Hollywood, or even our entire own party on our side. So if we take a shot at the big guy, we better not miss. And even if Republicans are able to prove Joe not only knew about the shady business dealings but played a role, we do not have the votes in the Senate to remove him. That's why I'm concerned. What is our end goal? Kamala? The best thing that could happen to the GOP in 2024 is to run against Joe Biden. Are we sure we want to head down an impeachment rabbit hole that half the American people aren't going to follow or care about and take our eyes off the bigger picture, presenting a better America for voters? I want to be cutthroat too, but not at the expense of 2024. Like I've said before, we don't have the luxury to F around and find out. Here with her take on that and more is host of Just Listen to Yourself, Kira Davis. My friend Kira Davis holding it down in Orange County, California. I have a lot to talk to you about. California included in that list. But first, I do want to talk about this impeachment inquiry. So listen, I've got mixed feelings about it. I feel like he deserves to be impeached, but I'm a little concerned that if we go down this rabbit hole, we're going to lose American voters that want the GOP to provide, I don't know, a framework for correcting the errors of this administration instead of just what they're going to see as another witch hunt. But what do you think? Is this going to move the needle in the court of public opinion?
I actually think it does. I think we've already gone down the rabbit hole. It's too late. We may have already hit the bottom of that rabbit hole when we elected Trump in 2016. I think we all agree that everything changed then. And back then, it seems almost quaint how we thought things changed. We couldn't have imagined how awful things would get. So I kind of think that's where we are. There is no more diplomacy. The Democrats blew it up. So this is what it is. This is what it is. I think Americans need to accept it. But I also think GOP voters do want to see a GOP with some teeth. We know that the prosecution of Donald Trump is completely unfounded, that it is completely disgusting. And that is what is taking us down the rabbit hole, not the response. That is. So it deserves a response. And I think McCarthy does need to have a show of strength here. So I have to disagree with you here. I think that this is the right thing to do.
So again, I feel like it's the right thing to do because I want to get those bank records. I want to get that information. Don't get me wrong. I think this is going to give us the ability to really uncover it. I'm just wondering, when you look at the American people, there's been so much evidence already, right? And it doesn't seem like the American people care that much. And I'm not talking about the people that exist on Twitter or people that work in politics. We've all cared about it for a long time. But I'm talking about your average Joe out there that's just going to work, trying to feed their family, and they really haven't cared about all the evidence that's been presented thus far. So I'm wondering, with even more evidence, we really need to have just like a smoking gun. That WhatsApp message felt like a smoking gun. I don't know what else they need. I don't know how much more we can present where the American people are going to go, okay, yeah, this is a problem.
I totally agree with you on that. I mean, I share your frustrations. Obviously, we're both in media and we both get how the other side doesn't tell the whole truth. So you make a really good point in that respect. But I'll still say, I don't think there's ever any excuse not to pursue justice. And somehow down the line, it's got to pay off, and maybe not even in our lifetimes, but maybe it will just be a record that history shows that will lead our children and grandchildren and great grandchildren to better decisions. It's not fair. It's not fair that the American people don't seem interested in this. They would be more interested if the mainstream media were more interested. So maybe that needs to be a part of the GOP plan, figuring out how to get the mainstream talking heads interested. But the more I think about it, the more I think justice has to be pursued, even if it's done quietly, even if it's done in a way where people don't recognize it and hail it. I think the principle of justice is more important than what the American people are willing to absorb.
I want to throw another curveball at you because this is another concern that I have, right? I think the Democrats are actually happy about this. I think the Democrat Party itself is happy about this. I think that they would love a reason, a good, solid reason to ditch Joe. So I think they're sitting back going, they're going to impeach him. We can keep our hands clean. We can get rid of Joe, and then we can put Gavin Newsom in his spot. I don't think it's going to be Kamala. We can discuss that later. But I think that they're actually salivating like, yes, the Republicans will do the dirty work, and then we actually can run a candidate that we want to run, like a Gavin Newsom. I would rather have our candidate run against Joe Biden any day rather than replace him. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that you're very astute. I think that there are two camps going on right now in Washington, D.C. There is the shadow camp, right? Those are the people that are actually really running the government, the Valerie Jarretts of the world that are behind Biden's. And then there's the Biden family, the Biden conglomerate. They don't want to go. And so there is a battle, an internal battle happening right now when it comes to the Biden administration. And I'm not intelligent enough to know who's going to come out on top on that one. So there is a push and a pull, but I think you're rightly recognizing that there is certainly a very influential part of the Democrat Party that would love any excuse to get rid of Biden. I don't think they would prefer impeachment to be that excuse, because now you have another impeached Democrat president on the historical books. But I do believe that, like you say, they would be salivating to get rid of him. And the reason I say that, Tommy, is because I've been covering California news all week here in our state. The governor has 220 new bills on his desk. And it's very interesting what he's doing. Bills that he would normally assign willingly, he's sent back. There was a human trafficking bill that the Democrats squashed, and they didn't want that because that makes it harder to traffic children. And of course, Democrats are into that. So they squashed that. It was a Republican proposed bill. Gavin makes a call last week. Yesterday, the entire Democrat Senate voted 79-0 for the human trafficking bill. That tells me Gavin knows he's going to need that messaging on the road. So I think you're very astute in assuming that Gavin is looking to replace Biden. And we know who his favorite auntie is. It's Auntie Nancy. So she's clearly pulling some strings. Absolutely, there is an element that would love to get Gavin Newsom in office, or at least in that campaign chair. And Gavin is acting like he knows something like that is going to happen. It's an interesting time.
So how do you think they get rid of Kamala? I'm not sure. Are they going to call in Hillary? I'm not sure how you get rid of the Kamala problem, because she is next in line. Gavin has said, rightfully it's Kamala's. Kamala is even less likable. Yeah, I know that, but how does the perception of it, right? Nobody likes Kamala, but how does the perception play in a party that is so obsessed with race and gender? How do they say, Kamala would be the one, but we just don't think she's good enough, so now we're going to go to another white guy? I don't know how they do it. I think they're going to. I just don't know how.
Well, that's the fun part. I guess we'll get our popcorn ready and see what really happens. But I'll tell you what, Tommy, how do you get rid of Kamala, the first VP woman of color? Send out the Obamas. So I would be watching the Obamas very closely in the coming months to see how they fare when it comes to the Kamala conversation. You'll notice they've been very, very quiet when it comes to her. And her and Obama were very cozy for a long time. So if I were running this strategy, I would put Obama and his wife out front on that, maybe doing some messaging like, we love Kamala, but this isn't the time for her, or she's got family issues. I don't think it was an accident that cocaine was found at the White House and subtly tied to her camp. We'll probably see more stories like that. But if I were looking to get rid of Kamala, I would start planting stories about her, and I would start approaching the Obamas to begin some messaging on how she might have a different role to play. Maybe they'll make her look good going out. The reason that Kamala's in there in the first place is because she's an easy target. So I think they'll be fine.
Oh, it's going to be interesting to watch that one play out. It's going to cost them a lot of money to get her to step aside. I think that she can be bought, as any witch can, but I think it's going to take a lot of money. Next thing I want to turn to, though, is some stuff happening in your state. I mean, God love you that you're still, I know the weather is beautiful, but you guys got a lot of issues. You mentioned a lot of bills coming up. You know, Gavin is trying to play moderate right now, which is a joke and a farce. We all know it. But that doesn't stop California from having a Transgender History Month. So the month of August, the month of June is ruined. Now the month of August is Transgender History Month. Tell me how that's going to benefit you as a Californian.
What the hell is Transgender History Month? First of all, I don't, this is too much. By the way, Tomi, I've got kids in school. Sure, June is Pride Month here in California, but then you have Pride weeks that spread across every town and county at different times across the year. We're basically all year long in California is LGBTQ plus all the other letters celebrations. This will just be more white noise. It's absolutely ridiculous. What is transgender history? It's absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, our kids aren't even learning real history. Do you know, during Black History Month, I asked my daughter, what did you learn in school about Black History Month this month? Oh, well, we don't celebrate it. Do you know why? Because locally, we're celebrating Pride weeks here during February. Wow. And Pride months internationally. So Pride has now come to subvert Black History Month, which is, of course, as you know, is very important to people like my family. If I got to learn about transgender history, whatever the hell that is, then I want my children to at least have a cursory understanding of Black American history. So I don't even know what to say, Tomi. Like, this is ridiculous. Send help. It's time to start flying the flag upside down. These people have taken control of every institution of California life. And it's insane how they are seeking to LGBTQify every single institution. It's not just about normalizing this, it's about taking over.
Well, they did put a brown stripe in the flag. So I think that they thought that was, in lieu of Black History Month. They took the pride flag, they put the brown stripe in it. So, apparently that was them paying their respects to Black History Month. You're right. It's an absolute joke. California being the worst place. I mean, the Dodgers with the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. But there's even more that I worry about besides just the stuff that's the facade and the celebrations. And that's these new bills that are coming up regarding parental custody for gender-affirming care. I mean, there's got to be, I know in Orange County, I think you guys are the divorce capital of the world. So I think that's got to be a big concern for people even in Orange County. If California moves this direction where parental custody is based on who's going to affirm, a delusion, I'm really worried how that's going to play out.
I'm worried too, Tomi. I actually don't have any jokes to make about this. This is really serious. And I'm a parent with a kid still in school. And the consequences are terrifying to consider. They really are. And I have to say, parents, if you can get out of California, you probably should. If you have young school-age children, if that's an option for you, you probably should. Right now, your kids aren't safe. This is literally the inmates running the asylum. I was saying to somebody yesterday, I have two great kids. I, of course, as a parent, think they are the most well-adjusted, kind, polite, intelligent children out there. But even I would dread having them be in charge of me at 8, 9, 10 years old. And that's what the state is doing, putting children in charge of major life decisions, putting children in charge of what parents should think is best for them. It's totally upside down, but it's really on purpose. And if you take that bill and you couple it with some of the other bills that have passed, like this Trans History Month, which I can't say without rolling my eyes, Trans History Month, or other bills. There's a book, a ban to ban book bans that a ban on book bans that is sitting there. But the idea is that parents were using the curriculum to say, hey, you can't have this sexual material in classrooms. Well, all that sexual material is under LGBTQ headings. And so their solution, the Dem solution, was to say, oh, well, you can't ban those. It doesn't matter if there's sexual content and it is LGBTQ. So that is going hand in hand with this law. What they're trying to do is make your child vulnerable. You, the parent, are the only thing standing between your child and pure evil. We all know that instinctively the moment we hold our children. And the state knows that the only way they can have their way with your child, and some of the individuals in the state who would love to have their way with your child, they know they have to get you out of the way. And this is just one more thing that's happening across the state to make parents the enemy. I'm sure you've already covered this on the show, Tomi, but our AG is suing Chino Valley School District because they passed a parental notification bill. Our own attorney general is suing the parents for asking their school district to know what's going on with their children at school, for asking their school district not to keep sexual secrets about their own children in school. And our own attorney general, who is supposed to serve the people, is suing the people. So yeah, if you have the option to get your child out of this state, you very well should. We are in deep, deep trouble here, and this doesn't look to be getting better anytime soon.
So my last question for you, because I agree with you, I left California. I would never raise kids in California. Obviously, Orange County is kind of a bright spot, although obviously it's not immune from all the lunacy that's going on, as you just described. But my last question for you is to parents like yourself that have chosen to stay and to fight. Beyond running for school board as you did, what do you tell parents to do when they feel like everything is stacked against them, they don't know how to fight the fight? What do you tell them to do?
I tell them to show up. Government goes to those who show up. And the reason why all of these dominoes are falling in this state, and you point out that I live in Orange County, Tomi, and this is a fairly conservative area, although we did flip blue in 2022. One of the reasons for that is that people are complacent. We live a nice life, it's sunny, and we have nice houses, and we're fairly comfortable. Our schools are fairly good. People didn't show up. And guess who was showing up? The activists, because they knew they had a 50-year plan. Conservatives, Republicans, and normal people don't have long-term plans. We're busy going to work and paying our bills and coming home to our families and hanging out with them. That's what we want to do. That's the American dream. But every now and again, and you'll see my book back here, Tomi, it's called Drawing Lines. And it is a complete battle plan for conservatives to get in the game wherever they are, wherever you are in your life. You don't have to run for school board like I did and lose like I did. You don't have to run for office. There are little things that you can do right where you are, showing up to school board meetings, going to your school libraries, checking out the books that are in there. Become the squeaky wheel. Think about the squeaky wheels that are running our government right now. You know, we let those squeaky wheels in. It's time for everyone to get in the game. Let me say this, Tomi. I get this a lot from people. They say, I'm tired. I just want peace. And I know that that is all you want. You want to live your life peacefully. And that is a godly and good thing to do. But peace sometimes comes at the cost of war. And we are not in peacetime. And believe me, I am an innate peacemaker. I don't like conflict. But even I know that sometimes good and calm people have to take up their swords. Metaphorically speaking, all the Democrats who are watching. But we do have to take up the battle. We've got to step on the battlefield. The battle is right on our doorstep. It's no longer on some other front. Mm-hmm. It's right there, and we have no more yardage to give behind us. So everyone needs to get uncomfortable. Right. Everyone needs to step up right now. And so go get my book, Drawing Lines, and I'll lay it all out for you.
You've done an excellent job at that. And, I think that you're right. There's a lot of parents that don't want to run for school board. They don't necessarily want to be politically active. But when they can look to somebody like you and look at another parent that's willing to be called names and willing to be called crazy and willing to be called a Karen, and they can associate themselves with you, that is really a strong method to attack this because there's strength in numbers, and I think there's a lot of numbers. Sometimes it just takes one, like yourself and like a lot of other parents that are willing to take the brunt of it. So God bless you for doing that. God bless you for writing the book, and stay safe out there in California. Enjoy Transgender History Month.
So excited. Thanks, Tomi.
A year to wait, but it'll come around again. God bless you. I'll talk to you soon.